What's going on, everybody? This is Sports Zone Media with your hosts, Ernie and Justin. What's so funny? You laughing at me?
I don't know why I laughed. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
It's all good. Well, today's episode, it's going to be a third one. We're going to be talking about the NFL playoffs. So, this first round was the Eagles and the Bucks, and what a surprise turn that took. I mean, the Eagles took down, or my bad, the Bucks took down the Eagles, and they whooped them. It was a 32-9.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a
it was
beat
never
down.
really competitive.
Nah, I mean the Eagles, they haven't been looking good. I don't know what's going on. The Eagles since week 13, um, their winning percentage is .143, which is
hmm
31st in the league. Their uh, opponents' points per game have been about 30, which is dead last, which means they're giving up the most points. And then their touch turnover margin is -8, which is also last. So just a lot of things not going right for the Eagles right now. And is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat?
Uh, I don't know,
It's hard to say a coach is on the hot seat whenever he just brought a team to the Super Bowl last year, right?
but it's also Philly.
That's true.
So,
Philly
but the thing
expects.
is, they had such a significant drop off in production. I mean, you start off 10-1 and
Yeah,
go, what was it, 1-5 the last 6 weeks of the regular season, and then you lose. You get blown out by,
yeah.
on paper, a team that you're much better than.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely. There was no reason. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think there's any reason why the Bucks should have steamrolled the Eagles like that.
mm,
And I mean, I know AJ Brown wasn't playing, but I don't.
I
I mean,
don't
I
I
s-
don't think it would have made much of a difference. I think the team was kind of lost at this point.
yeah, I've heard a lot of locker room issues going on. I'm not real sure what's going on there, but they need to figure it out during the off season and see if they can come back stronger.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of questions uh surrounding Sirianni.
Yeah,
Like you mentioned before, I'm not gonna be one to say that he's not the right guy for the job because obviously when he took over for Doug Peterson,
hmm
the Eagles, I mean Jalen Hurts was a shell of what he is now.
right.
He was kind of more like a project guy. But he had potential, but would he ever live up to it? And then year one, they made it to the playoffs, got beat in the first round by the Bucks
Yeah,
when Tom Brady was there. And then his second year, it's like they just flipped a switch. They were the best team in the NFL all year.
yeah,
They ended up losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And this year, well, when you really look back to when things started to shift for the Eagles is when they got blown out by the 49ers
yeah,
on primetime TV. I
yeah.
think
And then
that put a lot of I think that the way that they lost and getting blown out
mhm,
put a lot of tension, made tensions high in the locker room.
right,
Uh,
which is crazy because the 49ers also went on that stretch where they lost what three in a row, and but
yeah,
they overcame that bad stretch, and but the Eagles, it just seemed like they could never get over that the hump.
yeah, and I don't blame that all on Sirianni.
No,
Uh,
I mean it's a
Jalen Hurts his play went down significantly,
yeah, just a lot
which
of
I see a lot of.
turnovers.
Yeah, I'm not a. I mean, I keep up with the Eagles. I mean, I
Mhm.
keep up with just like I keep up with the rest of the league, but I'm not too familiar necessarily with the Eagles and their system and their play call and stuff like that. I've
Right,
been seeing a lot of comments on Instagram about the Eagles not having a very spread playbook. Like they're running a lot of the same plays.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
But
I
that's
can
also
kind of see
coming.
that.
But that's also coming from angry Philly fans at the moment.
Right, yeah.
So
And, it's hard to, point fingers at the head coach because he's a head coach. Obviously, he's the top guy, that's responsible for the team. And but it also falls back on the OC, on the DC. I mean, the head coach can't do it all. I mean, you look at
yeah,
who am I thinking of? I can't think of the name, but yeah, I can't think of the name. I lost it.
mm,
But I mean, it happens everywhere. I mean, you got good head coaches. I mean, you look at LSU. I mean, this is college football, but you look at LSU this past year. They had one of the best um, offensive years, for the year, but their defense was just trash.
yeah.
So you know,
Well, it's a
does that
collective effort.
exactly? Yeah,
Offense, defense, special teams wins games.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, so when you can't put it all together, I mean, the Eagles' defense was awful
yeah. I
to
mean,
the last to the last 7 games of the year. I mean, this is a team that we were watching just kind of they were like on cruise control for their first 11 games, and then they got punched in the mouth, and it's like they couldn't get up from that.
yeah. I mean, once when the Eagles are clicking, they're probably really one of the best teams in the league to watch because of
I think
Hurts.
I think that I think them and the 49ers are neck and neck as the best team in the NFL
Yeah,
when all things are working correctly. The Ravens are up there too, but
yeah.
I
I
mean
mean,
they kind of
Ravens.
separate themselves.
Yeah, Ravens just have a nasty defense right now. I don't, you know, the Texans are gonna have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that matchup. But
Uh,
moving on to another matchup that happened this weekend, I want to talk about Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Um, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
the game went exactly how I expected.
yeah,
Um, but
I
man,
agree.
Josh Allen, it's so
J-
good.
Yeah, I mean, what he's doing right now. I mean, I saw a stat, and I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I saw a stat where it said, Josh Allen and the Bills are 17-0 when he doesn't uh, commit a turnover.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, when you look at it, it's like the Miami game. Uh, when they won the AFC East title. Um, the Miami game, he threw I think one or two interceptions. I believe it was two. But you take his turnovers away, they probably blow out Miami because when he turns the ball over, it keeps teams in games because
yeah.
their offense is so great. They can put up points on anybody. He puts
I
his
think,
defense in a bad spot sometimes,
yeah,
and the Bills have a good defense. They really do.
yeah.
Um,
I
but they're
think
playing good football right now.
I think the Bill or Josh Allen, if he doesn't commit so many turnovers this year, I think he runs away with the MVP.
Yeah, I do too.
But you know, I guess people have Lamar as a front runner. I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean,
The thing is with Lamar, just feel like he hasn't done it all year consistently. I guess, but then again,
well,
I mean,
Lamar turns the ball over a lot too.
right?
He
Yeah.
puts the ball on
So
the ground a lot more
yeah.
than Allen does, but he also
So
runs a lot more than Allen does.
yeah. Yeah. So our speaking of this Bills game, uh, they play the Chiefs in Buffalo.
I think Buffalo by 10.
I think Buffalo wins that game. I don't. The Chiefs' offense hasn't been the same this year. I think the Bills' defense, kind of holds them. I still think it's going to be a close game, but I don't think the Chiefs win this game.
I don't either. I think the main difference is going to be just weapons.
Yeah.
Buffalo's healthy. They'll have
No.
Knox and Kincaid,
Is
Diggs,
what about
Dave.
Davis? I don't think he played last game.
From what
But
I've heard, I believe he's playing. I believe.
okay. Yeah,
I might be wrong,
yeah,
but I haven't seen anything that said he isn't playing. Which
yeah,
I'm pulling for Buffalo. I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I think the guy. I think he. I don't like to say he's the best quarterback in the league and all that because I mean it kind of varies from week to week. But I think he's a top three quarterback. He's up there with Mahomes, Burrow.
yeah,
I mean those are the three guys that can win a Super Bowl any year. I feel like a lot of these guys, there's a lot of luck involved with winning a championship. So I feel like just on a performance based standpoint, Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes can lead from a talent and production standpoint, lead a team to a championship.
yeah.
And I
Well,
hope I'm really pulling for Allen to get his first this year.
yeah, Allen, what he had no offers coming out of high school.
Yeah, he went
Ended
to
up
junior
in
college.
Yeah, and then ended up at Wyoming, and then
Well,
the
I was
Bills.
I was reading something on that today. When he was coming out of high school, he had zero offers. He sent over 1,000 emails to a
Yeah,
thousand different coaches,
yeah,
and maybe it wasn't 1,000 different coaches, but I know he sent out 1,000 emails at least,
his first
and
shot.
none of them reached out to him. So he went and
Yeah,
played community college football, and Wyoming went to the community college to scout one of his teammates,
hmm,
and they saw him and was impressed, and they said, "Look, you're going to be the face of our program for the next 4 years." So then he goes on to Wyoming, and his stats really weren't crazy at Wyoming. They really weren't. His last year at Wyoming, he had a really good year, but he played really well in I think it was the Idaho Bowl. Um,
yeah,
and he played really well. He did well, and he did well at the combine. And the Bills obviously drafted him in the first round.
yeah,
He had a rough start to his career, a rough couple of years to start off, and then the Diggs trade happened, and he's just blossomed ever since. I think he had all the talent he needed, but the Bills built around him in the draft. Dawson Knox, they traded for Diggs, they get Gabe Davis. The only thing that they've
yeah,
been missing for these few years, I feel like, is a run game. And James Cook gives you somebody. He can get 15 carries in a
yeah.
game. You don't
He's
you don't
good.
have to
Yeah,
rely just on the pass game.
right.
And he can also catch the ball out the backfield.
Hmm.
Um, so I think the Bills are really scary because they were 6-6, and I want to say I heard them say they were in 13th in the AFC. So at 6-6, and because you know how tiebreakers and all that works, people had
Yeah,
wins over them. They dropped a few games they really should have won this year.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
you see, and then but they made that jump and win six straight or
yeah,
five straight, and now all of a sudden the two seed, they're the AFC East champs
yeah,
because it was Miami's division all year, and Buffalo
hmm,
just took it.
yeah. I
So
mean,
that was huge.
really, Buffalo took off really whenever they fired their OC and Dorsey.
Yeah, I'm a Joe Brady believer.
Yeah, yeah. He's been doing good. He started off with the Saints, I believe, and then went to LSU. For I don't think he was the OC. He was like an assistant OC, but he he was under uh what's the word, like an intern. Like he was overseeing the
I don't
offensive
I don't think
coordinator.
it I don't think it's an intern. I think he was an analyst.
Right,
But
right.
but
He was
I think
involved. He was
pretty
involved.
much he was the co-offensive coordinator. From
Yeah,
my understanding, he drew up a lot of the plays and a lot of the formations that made that team so great at
yeah,
LSU. But then
yeah,
he leaves LSU and goes to Carolina and gets the
yeah.
offensive
The OC
coordinator job there and is fired after I think it was his first year.
first year, I think
And
so.
I
Yeah, I
don't I
mean,
don't know, I can't remember if he went straight to Buffalo after Carolina, but I mean, this just goes to show I think he's the right guy for the job. I think
oh
Buffalo
yeah,
needs to offer him at the end
yeah,
of the year, which I believe they will.
yeah. I mean, after Brady became the OC, the Bills became more run heavy. Uh, I think they was like the first in the league to lead. in rushing attempts after Brady took over
Yeah,
because James
and
Cook.
they got more than just James Cook. They got Ty
Mhm,
Johnson back there. They got
yeah,
guys that can piece it together.
yeah.
They, if I was the Bills, I would want one more rotational running back to throw in there. But as of right now, they're
Well, they
clicking on
just
all
cut
cylinders.
Fournette.
So I know.
That's
Which
crazy.
Fournette, what did Fournette really step on the field though?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think he was going to make an impact on the Super Bowl run for them.
yeah. I don't know what happened about that,
Yeah.
but
But speaking of that game, something about the Steelers I want to talk about is Mike Tomlin.
mhm.
This was the first year ever that he entered his last year and didn't get extended. Um, he
Great
declined. He
coach.
wouldn't talk about it after the game.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
I
today
saw
he
it.
spoke to the
Yeah,
media
yeah,
and was talking about how in 2024 Kenny Pickett's going to be their starter and he still believes in him.
well,
So that's interesting.
I saw a report today out. Like I said, you saw something, and I also saw something. I saw that the Steelers were going to bring in another QB for Pickett to challenge each other for the starting job. That's what I saw.
Really, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah, I mean, very possible. You
but
could get a Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask kind of situation.
yeah, Tomlin. I mean, he's been never had a losing season. I mean, that's impressive to have the teams he's had lately. They kind of went through a rebuild, I guess you can say, after Big Ben retired.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, uh,
they've definitely
Pickett.
overachieved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Their defense has stepped up for them to win the games though too.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, I don't know if Kenny Pickett is the answer for Pittsburgh. I really don't. I mean, it's tough because you have Jalen Warren who's done pretty good this year. Najee Harris who's all right. You have George Pickens at wideout.
Deontay
Deontay
Johnson.
Johnson. Um, they have some weapons. Not elite, I guess you could say, but they have good enough weapons to compete.
Yeah.
So
Uh, but also it's like going back to Allen. He had to have a few tough years to really
yeah,
reach his potential. So
yeah,
I wouldn't give up on Pickett just yet. I
right.
mean,
This is what his second year
yeah,
this
he's
year.
going
Yeah,
into his he'll be going into his third next year.
man,
But
that's crazy.
I don't really have a lot to say about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Um, Hopefully Pickett can play better.
I
And
tell you what, man, if Burrow was healthy, I don't think Pittsburgh is even in the playoffs.
oh no, they're not. I don't think so either.
So I can't wait for next year. I hope Burrow stays healthy next year.
Yeah, me too.
So, but on to the
Um,
next uh, teams that we need to talk about. We need to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers game. That
Dallas looked
game,
awful.
that game was horrendous for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, they look bad, you know, start to finish. I mean, today they announced that Mike McCarthy was going to come back for next year, and I honestly don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah. But when you look at it on a year-to-year basis, they're one of the best teams in the regular season,
Right.
and they choke in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, ever since uh, McCarthy took over, he's led the Cowboys three straight 12-5 seasons, but he can't get past the divisional round.
Yeah. I mean,
Since nine.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say since 1998, the Cowboys are 4-12 in the playoffs and 0-6 in the divisional round.
Hmm.
And that's if I'm Jerry Jones, that's gonna take me off a little bit.
But also look. You can't put that loss just on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, that's true.
That
I mean, you
that
look at
that
that.
Dak had great stats at the end of the game. When you look at the
Yeah,
stats, you're like, wow, 400
that's because
yards, and but
garbage,
it was
garbage
garbage,
time. Yeah,
garbage time, man. When it really mattered, he threw the pick six to Darnell Savage. That was, I thought, an awful read. Um, but the Packers just looked more prepared and ready to win the game than the
oh
Cowboys
yeah,
did. The
yeah.
Cowboys
I
didn't look
mean,
ready to play, in my opinion.
it's like the Cowboys slept on the Packers, and you know what, man? Jordan Love looked great. He looked good. I mean, he looked like he's gonna be the next, big thing in Green Bay.
Yeah. But
So
I'm ready to see how they do against the 49ers. I think the 49ers beat them. I don't think it's gonna be.
I don't know if it's gonna be a
It's
blowout.
it's possible, but I don't think it will be. I don't. I think it'll. I mean, I think the 49ers win by double digits, but I think it's going to be a dogfight through the first 2.5 to 3 quarters. And I think maybe the 49ers pull away at the end. The Packers need to get a few more weapons on offense to really compete,
Yeah,
I feel like. But
yeah,
they were a couple weeks ago, they were 7-8, and I was thinking the Packers ain't making the playoffs and win the
right.
last 2 games. I definitely didn't think they were going to beat Dallas. So I'm not, I'm, shoot, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I mean, Packers, like you said, needed a couple of receivers. You know, Cowboys.
They just need one elite guy. They
Yeah,
need one elite guy. Like say they get Devontae, if they were to somehow get Devontae Adams back, or they were to get somebody like a I don't know, like a AJ Brown,
yeah,
somebody that he can be the clear number one, and let Watson and Dobbs develop into the player. Because both of those guys have a lot of potential, I feel like. So I think if you can get an elite receiver in there and these guys can start playing together, I think that I think the Packers would be in really good hands.
yeah. I agree.
But
Um,
yeah,
so,
I don't have much to say about that game other than Dallas looked completely unprepared, and
yeah,
which that's on McCarthy. Your team should be prepared,
yeah.
and that the Packers just looked like the better team that day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they were to play again, you think they beat them again?
Ah, I don't know. It's hard to look into that kind of
I
stuff.
mean, I tell you what, man. I mean, it was just a beat down. It wasn't just hey, we beat you. They beat them.
I didn't expect it because it was in Dallas, and Dallas has been so
Yeah,
good at home.
yeah,
I mean, I know the final score was 48-32, but at one point it was 48-16.
yeah,
I mean, it was over.
yeah. Well, another thing that's over is the Lions drought.
Yeah, that
What
was a
was it?
nice
19?
that was a nice segue.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Uh,
been 30 years.
what 1991? They said.
It's been 30, I guess 33, 32
Yeah,
or 33.
something like that. I mean, that was a great game, great homecoming for Matthew Stafford. I mean, who NFL script writers got it right this year. Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
It was really good.
yeah, that was a really good game. I enjoyed it. We
And
watched a little.
coming from a Saints fan, the Rams cannot complain about a missed call.
Yeah,
So
yeah, uh,
yeah, Puka, that was probably a penalty on third down when he threw it to Puka, but I don't care.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, then the Lions advanced and they played the Buccaneers, which I think the Lions beat the
I think
Bucks.
Lions by double digits.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
mean,
they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be one of those games where in the second quarter you're like, God, this is a blowout. I think it's
right.
gonna be one of those games, kind of like how I see the 49ers Packers game going.
Yeah,
Is I see the Bucks hanging in there, but the Lions just being too much. I think the Lions are just a really good team. But how
yeah,
cool would it be for a Packers Lions NFC championship?
that would be crazy, bro.
I mean,
That would
think
be
about it.
awesome.
The Lions are a win away from an NFC championship, from being
Yeah,
an NFC championship appearance. And 2 years ago, they were 3-13-1.
yeah. I mean, what a story that is. I
Give
mean,
Dan Campbell a lifetime contract at this point.
yeah. I mean, he's been great ever since he's gotten there.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I got the Lions over the Bucks. I have the 49ers over the Green Bay Packers this week.
Mhm.
Um, the Browns in Houston squared off this past weekend in
That
Houston.
uh,
I didn't expect that, honestly.
well, through the first like quarter and a half, it was a really good ball game. Both
Yeah,
teams were trading shots back and forth.
yeah. And
I
then
think
Stroud took off.
yeah, Houston went into halftime leading by what? It was either 10 or 14. I can't remember the score at halftime. And then you get the Flacco back-to-back pick sixes. All of a
Yeah,
sudden, the Browns are down like 38 to 17 or something at that point. And it was
yeah,
20, I think it was 24 to 17, something like that. And then Flacco throws the first pick six. Okay, let's see how they respond. And then he throws another one, and all of a sudden it goes, that's a 14-point swing, you know. I
right.
think Houston just rode that momentum the rest of the way. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game
Cleveland
for
dug
Houston.
themselves a hole. Yeah, Cleveland dug themselves a hole. It kind of sucks that Cleveland had to go to Houston. I think
Yeah,
it might have been a different situation if it would have been in Cleveland, but that's what happens when someone wants their division and you don't.
yeah.
So
I mean, I mean, Texans deserve it. I mean, they've been balling this year.
Derek Stingley,
Yeah,
he I think they said he guarded Amari Cooper on majority of the plays. He had one reception for like -6 yards on Derek
yeah.
Stingley.
He's one. He's healthy, man. He's a difference maker.
He was like that at LSU.
Yeah,
He was a big part of the defense as a true freshman on the 2019 LSU team. So
yeah.
he's always been a baller, but
Oh yeah,
his issue at LSU was staying healthy.
yeah.
If he could stay healthy, I think he's better than Sauce. That's just my opinion.
Hey,
But
I guess we'll, find out. You know,
but yeah, I think the Texans will get beat this weekend.
yeah.
But
I definitely got the Ravens over the Texans this week.
I just think they got to go to Baltimore, um,
I mean,
playing
nothing
against that
against
defense.
Stroud. Yeah, nothing
Yeah,
against
but
Stroud, but that defense is just, yeah. No one. I mean, people get hurt playing that defense.
yeah,
I mean, you look at the key injuries this year that the QBs have taken from the Ravens defense.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I definitely got the Ravens over the Texans this week. And then
yeah, me
the
too.
last game we need to cover is the Dolphins and the Chiefs, which the
That
Chiefs won.
game was extremely boring to me,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's just my opinion.
It was a blowout, huh?
Well,
In a way.
most of the game it was close,
Yeah,
but it never really felt competitive, if that
yeah,
makes sense. It
yeah,
always felt like Kansas City was in control. Besides the Tyreek Hill 53-yard touchdown, it felt
yeah.
like they couldn't move the ball.
And it was just
It just,
cold, man.
Kansas City looked like they were just more comfortable, and
Yeah, yeah,
you could see it. But I think Kansas City's run comes to an end. I'm ready for it. I hope
yeah.
Buffalo beats them by 30.
I think the Bills beat the Chiefs this week.
Yeah,
So
I think the Bills have a better overall team. I really do.
I, you
But
know,
you can't count Mahomes out. I would not be surprised if the Chiefs end up pulling it out
right?
in
No,
a
yeah,
tight game.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
But and we could potentially be live streaming for the Bills Chiefs game. We'll probably watch it together.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
What day is that? You know, is that Saturday?
I don't, I think it's Saturday. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to live stream it if we could. Let's see. It's Sunday at 5:30.
Oh, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
we'll see. We'll see if we can live stream or not. But um, thank y'all for tuning in with us, and hope to see y'all soon. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
See.